was about to push the button and just go with photo. All right, guys, so we're here with Dr. Jeff Cannella and Dr. Ed Garcia with the HPH cycling team. We're missing one of our members, Dr. Greg Bonin.
Right.
But in essence, we know we just finished riding the 2018 BP MS150 and had a great time.
Yes, we did.
And
Absolutely.
so what we're here to do today is to talk about more about your personal stories. So Jeff, why don't you start with how you got started riding in the MS150?
Okay. Well, I've always liked cycling. I always get a little bit of freedom with that, and you can get out in the outdoors, and it was good exercise. But in 2004, I did a project with my son and daughter at school. It was the Post Oak Montessori School, and they had an annual project they wanted to do, and they're going to ride the MS150. It was a good cause, community service, and a great project for everybody to rally around. So I completed that, and it was a great ride, and that was in 2004. I had no idea that I would be riding for something that would affect me personally at that time. And 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with MS. So it was something that was important to me back then to do, but after that, I didn't give it a whole lot of thought. Then my good buddy and partner, Ed, Dr. Garcia here, he has always been into cycling. You can tell him your part of it there and see.
I'll tell my story too. So I guess this will lead into that point. So I started doing the MS150 about 19 years ago. And at that time when I did it, it was purely because of more of a passion for cycling. So it just seemed to be a good thing to challenge myself for. And I got into it purely for the cycling aspect. And within a couple of years of doing this, the cause really stood out at me, even year one. And then year two, it really became much more of a focus for me, and that, less so about the cycling, more about the cause. At that point, I really took it to heart, started to pay more attention to what the society was doing, and it's a tremendous society in terms of what they are able to bring not only to patients in terms of research, but also to patients and their families in terms of all of the disability that this disorder can bring, helping them out with finding ways to improve their homes. The society does a lot to support the patients with disease, not just the research for the disease.
Right.
So I quickly started to get engaged in fundraising. I was for many years at the top 100 fundraisers and involved in the Tour of Champions of the MS Society. And so over the years, I was always, patients of mine who had multiple sclerosis, friends of mine who had multiple sclerosis, and people that I knew, essentially. I was always, kind of supporting them in the ride. Mm-hmm. Well, about 6 years ago, my partner in crime here, Dr. Cannella, who he and I have been practicing together for pretty much 20 years, he was diagnosed with it. And suddenly it really became personal. About... Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so about 3 years ago, I had bought a tandem bicycle, a two-seat bicycle, that many years ago I started riding the MS150 with my children. So both of my boys rode the MS150 with me on the two-seat bicycle when they were 10 years old each. And then, about 3 years ago, I went to Jeff. Jeff has been fortunate in that the multiple sclerosis has really only affected his hip. And hip and kind of right upper leg area. It really hasn't affected anything else. But it's that in particular kept him from being able to ride a bike safely. And so I just came up to Jeff and said, do you want to ride this thing with me on a two-seat horse? What do you think, And Jeff was like, yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah. So about 3 years ago, we started training. And, so I've got my big green MS fighting machine, which...
as we labeled it in
As
the
we
video.
labeled it, right? It's the big green MS fighting machine. And it's a great, road bike type tandem.
Yeah.
And so Jeff and I have tweaked that bike, and I'm telling you, we get on that thing and we are an absolute missile flying around.
So Jeff, tell me about your part of riding the big green MS150 machine. What is it like for you?
Okay, well, I'll tell you, just way back in the beginning, when he first approached me for that, I was thinking, so maybe I can do this, but I'm not sure. I said, he didn't want to be hauling around 156 pounds of dead weight, strong as he is. So I said, can I do this? And fortunately, like I said, if I clip into the pedals in there, then I'm pretty secure in there. I just can't unclip quick enough, so it's helpful to have somebody keep the bike upright then. But we got into doing that, and it turned out pretty good, I guess, because we're still doing that.
Yes,
so I guess it was good.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
We there's a technique to it, because you have to be in sync with the rider in front. So I have to watch him pedal when he pedals. I don't have to, but to be in sync.
So the pedals don't go at the same time.
They don't go at the same time. So somebody I could be sitting back there doing nothing, but actually I'm trying to pedal. But if you're out of sync in there, it's going to interrupt your rhythm. So there's a rhythm to it that you establish in there, and you got to keep the balance proper, and so there's a little bit of a technique in it in there. The bike is much heavier because it has to support two riders, but it's something. So
it allows you to eat lunch and not pedal, or take videos and
go.
not pedal.
That's right. That's right.
Actually, when one of my oldest son was riding with me the first time on the MS150, he had a bag of sunflower seeds, and he was just spitting the seeds on people as they were coming by, or just having a good old time. And the whole time, I was just hearing people come by saying, it was a lot of fun. But he was able to relax, I think, more than he should have. Jeff, on the other hand, he's actually a pretty strong co-pilot back there.
Right.
I mean, really, the two of us get together, we get to move in that machine quite a bit.
Well, you guys made good time.
We do,
because standing at the end of each finish line, day 1 and day 2, you guys took off and were finishing right behind the leaders of our cycling team.
Yes,
right?
indeed.
So you weren't far behind at all.
Yeah.
And that's one of the questions that they say. Often I hear, how do you guys go uphill? Because it seems like more of a challenge.
It is more of a challenge because the bike is very heavy. I mean, since it's got to support that weight, it's about a 60-pound bike, and most bicycles nowadays are about a third of that weight if it's a single bike. So you are penalized for having that. It's steel, it's thick steel, it's a pretty heavy bike.
Yeah.
So dragging that thing uphill is rough. So part of the technique really boils down to the run up to the hill. So the good thing about the tandem is that weight is great when you're going downhill, and even on a straight line, it's very aerodynamic. So you just have to get going very quickly before the hill, and then go up about 1/3, 1/2 of the way up. And then it's about a rhythm. Then it's about a steady rhythm going up. So you can't, you can't accelerate quickly like you do when you're on a bike by yourself, where you can get up out of the saddle and just, quick bursts of acceleration. There's none of that on the tandem. Right. Tandem, everything is slow and steady. So once you start going up, it's about the gearing, making sure the gearing is always right as you're going up higher. You're always maintaining a good spin rate, and then just kind of keep that rhythm going over the crest, and then again go fast going down so that you speed up for the next one. So it's a constant rhythm that you have. And these tandems, they can't move quickly, so I have to be very, very cognizant of where traffic is, where I'm putting that bike, getting into a corner, how I'm going to hit that corner, because everything is slow. You cannot do quick motions, or you will throw the bike off, and you'll end up in the weeds. Fortunately, we've never fallen.
Right.
Except for at the end of the line.
We do have video of that, yes.
We do have video of that.
That was planned falling.
But on the bike, on the road, we've never fallen.
That's great. Yeah. Well, it's a good thing I'm not a baseball player, which I am, and don't believe in superstitions, which I don't. So, we are doctors helping doctors with MS, is what we've kind of coined the phrase. However, thanks to our generosity, thanks to our generosity from Houston Physicians Hospital, we're not the only team that are out there. We have joined efforts with the old Army team.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that relationship and that dynamic of joining forces and becoming a larger group fighting for a bigger cause.
Yeah, so when we were looking for a team a while when Jeff and I were looking for a team to join, so I've been on multiple teams over the 19 years that I've been doing this, but Old Army seemed to fit what we were really looking to do. It's not an official Texas A&M team. It's just basically a bunch of Aggies that have gotten together for a great cause. And I think, I was an Aggie, and Jeff wasn't an Aggie, but his wife is an Aggie, and his daughter's an Aggie. Yeah. So he spent a lot more money at that university than he ever.
That's right, gig him.
So the whole Aggie spirit just seemed to be right in terms of what we were trying to accomplish. So we joined that team, and when we decided to, hey, let's get our doctors involved, the Houston Physicians, that has that same spirit of giving, that same spirit of helping, and realizing that multiple sclerosis, not only is it a devastating disease in terms of what it can do to people, but it tends to attack people at their most productive time in life. That's what's so horrible about this disorder, is that it tends to attack people when they are at their most productive, and it can destroy their productivity. So it just seemed with the Houston Physicians family that it was just a right thing in the right timing. So we have come together with Old Army, and we're going to create a larger team that is, again, the physicians and Aggie Network, I guess, right. Joining forces to fight MS.
Right. Well, that's great. Jeff, can you tell me how Dr. Bonin became involved with our cycling team? How did that happen?
Well, he has been a proponent for the MS and all the support organizations for multiple sclerosis and the research going on with that for several years. I think he was recognized by the legislature for that. He has been a background as a runner, so physically he's fit. He's a runner and can run some marathons. He doesn't like to run a full marathon, but half marathons, that's something right up his alley. And he was approached by the people of the BP MS150 to ride, and he agreed to ride. So there he was out there. He had committed himself to ride, and now he needed a team. So of course he's one of our partners over at the hospital, at Houston Physicians Hospital, and he knew Dr. Garcia was an avid cyclist, and that we had done the MS150 before, so it was a good fit for him to get involved. Got some good advice from Dr. Garcia about getting the proper cycle, and had done his own training with a local cycling group, and was all ready and prepped to go with us. So we had a great ride.
Well, that's great. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to come around to the other side, and we'll give thanks. If you guys want to say anything, thank you to anyone that has helped along the way. We'll just go over and do that and take a team picture.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds
Actually,
good.
you can stay right there because it's locked into the seats. So.
All right.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening to our videos, and we thank you, Houston Physicians Hospital and Old Army, for making all of this possible for a great cause. Thank you to Dr. Garcia and Dr. Cannella for your dedication to this effort as well, too. So we look forward to seeing you and both of you next year. So again, thank you, everyone, for your help and support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That was pretty good.
That was good. Not bad for us, right?
Yeah.
That's what they always say.
Hopefully we won't take it.